One of the topics of today is the double standard of the US culture, or not only US culture, but Western culture for that matter. So, on the one hand, we talk in this culture, they talk systematically and consistently about freedom, about respect the rights of everybody, about democracy. But in fact, there is an agenda that is not shown to everybody, but is undercover, is all over the place. You can find it anywhere. So I picked some elements here to show how this agenda works underneath, and also what kind of effects create this agenda in the population, particularly in the more weaker population, in the more disadvantaged part of society, what happened, and how the hypocritical system covers this by blaming the victim. This won't be the last documentary that I make on this topic. And one of the elements that I want to say is that, and I'm not developing it right now in this particular one, I just mentioned it, is how this idea of narcissism in terms of a particular psychology of a person, it also can be seen in society. But it's not only narcissism that can be seen in society. Psychopathy is also can be seen there. Because society is kind of a metaphor, replication of the ruling class, basically. And if we have a sick ruling class, we're going to have a sick society, a sick creation of society. And the institutions going to work in a way that basically are not healthy. So that's for start of this video. And I hope you enjoyed and learned something of it. Okay, thank you very much. Good to see you again.
This is a 2018 Rolls-Royce Phantom, and it's a car that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce it anyway. This is the most luxurious car on sale right now, probably the most luxurious car ever made. The sticker price on this one is $544,000. Today, I'm going to take you on a tour of it. Can't talk about Rolls-Royce without talking about its logo, which Rolls-Royce refers to as the Spirit of Ecstasy. It appears to be a woman with wings. Anyway, the Spirit of Ecstasy is of course kind of desirable, and that could make it attractive to thieves. So Rolls-Royce allows you to lower your Spirit of Ecstasy if, for example, you're driving through a bad neighborhood and you're worried someone might steal it. Just go into the infotainment system, lower the Spirit of Ecstasy, and then, well, the Spirit of Ecstasy automatically lowers so no one can take it. When you're back in your nice gated community, you can raise your Spirit of Ecstasy again automatically from inside, and it pops back up. But now it's time to drive it, because a luxury car isn't only about gadgets and upholstery and quirks and features. It's also about driving down the road and drowning out the sound of everyone else. All right, driving the Phantom. Oh, it is so nice in here. One of the things I realized just even a few minutes ago when I was filming that construction site next to me, you probably heard in some of the clips, when you shut the doors, you don't hear a thing. And so now as I drive down the road, you don't hear a thing. And oh, it is just so nice. And you know what? That's right. That's right. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to keep that open so I can see. It's just wafting along. Oh, these roads are just completely, the pavement, it's not the best, and it just swallows it up. The Phantom does not care. This is like climbing into a hot tub after like a long hike. That's what this car is. It's like the automotive equivalent of that. It's just incredible. You literally hear nothing. I have the climate control on, so you can hear a little bit of the fans and that kind of thing. That's pretty standard. But I can't hear a thing going on outside. I mean, there might be cars out there. There might be poorer people out there, but I don't hear them.
But right at the heart of this wealthy metropolis exist conditions that have been described by the city's own newspaper, the Los Angeles Times, as a national disgrace. One expanse of 50 city blocks is an area that's become synonymous with poverty, crime, and homelessness. It's existed for decades and has dogged successive mayoral administrations that have tried to eradicate it. It's called Skid Row, and is home to an estimated 2,000 members of Los Angeles County's homeless community.
LA has one of the highest rents in the nation. And the reason why there's so many tents out here is because people can't afford to live in a house.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father.
Primary target in life. It's that's not the thing. You buy this car, that's not what you're focused on. You're focused on just literally removing yourself from the world around you. And it does that. And it does that masterfully.
You're talking about subliminal messages and hidden images in Disney films. So the most infamous is the penis-shaped tower on the VHS cover of The Little Mermaid. But I'll bet you didn't see the other cock hidden on that box. Guess what? It's on the crab. And people will tell you the priest in The Little Mermaid, he had a boner. But how did everyone miss Dumbo's dick? The Lion King, it spells sex in the sky. That's debatable. But check out just a few frames later. Is that debatable? And there's no two ways about it. Disney's hiding dicks in their flicks. And most people don't catch them. It's very subtle the way they sneak them in. And in every single Disney movie, I'm finding dicks. Peter Pan, 101 Dalmatians. The Fox and the Hound, more like 3 cocks on the ground. And you have to wonder who's drawing all these dicks.
I was an animator at Disney for a lot of years. Dickhead animator. I was in charge of drawing the top part of the dicks. My first gig was Tarzan animated feature. So I'm sitting there one day and the boss comes in and he says, "Hey, I need you to draw something for me." I said, "What do you need me to draw?" He says, "Tarzan's dick." And I said, "What?" He says, "I need you to draw Tarzan's dick for me." I said, "That's not my job." He says, "I don't care. That's your job now, or else you don't have a job." I still don't know why to this day they want me to draw dicks, but I guess...
ongoing process. So long as there's dicks in Disney movies, I'm gonna find them. I'm not gonna stop until I've seen every dick.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you, and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Rejoice, and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle, and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Mr. President, I would not rule out the chance to preserve a nucleus of human specimens. It would be quite easy. At the bottom of some of our deeper mine shafts, radioactivity would never penetrate a mine some thousands of feet deep. And in a matter of weeks, sufficient improvements in dwelling space could easily be provided.
How long would you have to stay down there?
Well, let's see now. I would think that possibly 100 years.
You mean people could actually stay down there for 100 years?
It would not be difficult, my Fuhrer. Nuclear reactors could... I'm sorry, Mr. President. Nuclear reactors could provide power almost indefinitely. Greenhouses could maintain plant life. Animals could be bred and slaughtered. Quick survey would have to be made of all the available mine sites in the country. But I would guess that dwelling space for several 100,000 of our people could easily be provided.
Well, I would hate to have to decide who stays up and who goes down.
Well, that would not be necessary, Mr. President. Could easily be accomplished with a computer. And the computer could be set and programmed to accept factors from youth, health, sexual fertility, intelligence, and a cross-section of necessary skills. Of course, it would be absolutely vital that our top government and military men be included to foster and impart the required principles of leadership and tradition. Actually, they would breed prodigiously, eh? There would be much time and little to do. But with the proper breeding techniques and a ratio of, say, 10 females to each male, I would guess that they could then work their way back to the present gross national product within, say, 20 years.
But look here, Doctor, wouldn't this nucleus of survivors be so grief-stricken and anguished that they'd, well, envy the dead and not want to go on living?
No, sir. Excuse me. Also, when they go down into the mine, everyone will still be alive. There will be no shocking memories. And the prevailing motion will be one of nostalgia for those left behind, combined with a spirit of bold curiosity for the adventure ahead.
Doctor, you mentioned the ratio of 10 women to each man. Wouldn't that necessitate the abandonment of the so-called monogamous sexual relationship? I mean, as far as men were concerned.
Regrettably, yes. But it is, a sacrifice required for the future of the human race. I hasten to add that since each man will be required to do prodigious service along these lines, the women will have to be selected for their sexual characteristics, which will have to be of a highly stimulating nature.
I must confess, you have an astonishingly good idea there, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
These individuals, once you got to learn to recognize them, you learned that no matter if they seemed like a fatherly individual or a grandfather or a gentle man, there was something in their eye that let you know that they had taken human life on multiple occasions. This individual I talked to had the 1,000-yard stare, although he was from my generation. This man said he'd served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I believed him. He said he was part of a group that went into the Katrina disaster area, and that it was their mission to kill people. This man told me this. It was just me and him out on the patio late at night over a stiff drink. He told me how it was their job to go and get rid of the undesirables, that they were hired by the United States government to do the dirty work that the military couldn't do, that it was their job to thin the herd, to take advantage of this cover of this disaster, to go in and kill the undesirables. Because so many people were killed, because so many bodies were everywhere, no investigations were done. They're not done. Investigations aren't done. They just assumed that the people died from the effects of the disaster. So he talked about how they killed the undesirables, and so I asked him, who are the undesirables? And he said, homeless people, mentally ill people, militant people, outspoken anti-government people, that they had a hit list of names, addresses, that they also hit regions where they knew homeless people would be sheltered. And it was their job to clean up the streets and to do the dirty work that the government wasn't willing to do for themselves. Creepy encounter. I believed him. I do not think he was full of crap. Living my whole life in bars, I've learned to tell who's full of crap and who's not. This guy was not full of crap. This guy killed people. He did it for money. He was a mercenary.
Elijah Wood says Hollywood has a seedy underbelly of child sex abuse and that those responsible are being protected by the entertainment industry elite. Wood, who's been acting since he was 8, told the Sunday Times there are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. Wood compared the unnamed abusers to the British DJ Jimmy Savile, who faced dozens of accusations of rape and assault spanning more than 4 decades. Those claims were largely swept under the rug until after Savile's death. In 2011, Corey Feldman said he and other child stars in the 80s were abused by people with a lot of power in the entertainment industry.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids.
Declining to give specifics, Feldman said a Hollywood executive is directly responsible for the drug and alcohol problems that contributed to the death of his friend and fellow child star Corey Haim. Wood said he was lucky to have a mom who protected him from abuse, but added, "I've been led down dark paths to realize that these things probably are still happening."
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you, and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Rejoice, and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle